just seems like we were here about a few minutes ago, huh, Tracker?
It does. It feels like it was just last night
Or,
because it was.
yeah, I could have swore we were just doing this. Yeah, crazy.
The
Yeah, good to be
charts are
back.
kind of the
Good to be
same
back
again.
on this. Yeah, almost exactly the same. Actually, it is exactly the same because the week is still going on.
No, it is. It's great to be back. I enjoy doing the show with you and Kat on Tuesdays, and I enjoy doing the show with you every weekday morning.
Yeah, it is a great way to wake up, I think.
Well, let's see. You know, before let me just pull up this one chart um, before
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
start the indices to kill a little time. So here's this XOVR. If you look at my X account, posted this last night after the show. It was this one request the guy requested a couple times. He said he thought it had like 100% exposure to sex, or maybe I misread it. I looked it up. Actually, has like 8 to 12% exposure to SpaceX. Destiny DXYZ still has more exposure to SpaceX, but this is still both of them are constructive looking charts, and either it gets a percent ABC retrace up. You can see it's already, and maybe the B here, and so the COB, and then it also kind of matches if I did this as a wave one sub all of wave three, four, and then five, also at 2750, 2755. So I don't know. I kind of like the way these kind of match. So yeah, this seems like it's a pretty good bet. And then from here to here, this is just a request from the show that we didn't get to do up to 2755. So there's something to consider. And then contrasting DXYZ, where oh here, let me get all this up. If it doesn't go any lower than it already has, if it went straight up from where it is now to where I expect it to go, this wave three is about 150%. So still, DXYZ looks a little tastier to me. But I just wanted to put that out there since I'd never heard of this XOVR until now. So nice to compare and contrast. All right, and with that said, let's go back to the regular scheduled show, and Matt will start out with the indices.
Yeah, let's go back here and see what has changed since we were here 12 hours ago. Let's see. Nothing. Yeah, there we go. And we're done. No. So basically, what we see is we can go to the daily chart. And I think that the main focus on the daily chart is the 200-day moving average for the SPY. And we're just going to watch that to 573.94 right there. It will change a little bit because it is moving averages. So whatever today opens up at or whatever, it'll change a little bit. But that's going to be the main focus, to try to just stay on top of it throughout the day. And that's it, right? And then kind of build a base on top of it, foundation. And if so, then it can carry on its happy little way towards the 581 up top. And with the QQQ, we can see that also the 200-week moving or 200-day moving average is in play, but it's still below it. So that's going to be some resistance. So I think what we're going to focus on mostly on this one is perhaps the weekly chart and just staying above the 50-week moving average, even though it is back down at 487. It could come back down there and retest levels. So don't get too excited at this resistance zone just yet. It's got to prove it really wants to break this 200-day moving average at 494 before it continues its journey to the 500. So it is at resistance. So that's why things are a little bit red this morning, but we'll see if it can break through today. And the IWM is also in the middle of a daily range here. So that's really going to put the focus mainly on support way down here at the 203 still. If it did choose to go retest it, it's still possible before trying to go higher. So it looks like it could be just a boring day. Maybe nothing too exciting happening for the indices, just perhaps trying to consolidate at a higher level, right? We can try to see that, and maybe they don't have to go down to their lower levels if they can just maintain where they're at. So that'll be the focus for everything else. And can jump on to Bitcoin here and just check out the daily chart for Bitcoin. And we can see that it's actually trying to start to flip this 45-degree angle here maybe to a support, but it is getting closer to the daily cloud as well, with the 50-day moving average at 89.789. But this is an interesting development here, how it's on top of the 45-degree angle. We can go to the weekly chart and see that it's on top just barely, right? But it's maintaining that. So this is an interesting development for Bitcoin. If that can stabilize here and go higher, then that's going to be a great thing for Bitcoin proxies like MSTR and the miners too.
Indeed.
Yeah, we have
Let's see.
request Tesla, of course. Do you got your Tesla chart ready?
Almost. Go ahead and pop me up here. I just want to look. I just want to show the same thing I talked about last night with the SPY on the daily chart. Just be careful. Like today, there's going to be some support testing to see if it can build a base. If it if the market chooses violence today or tomorrow, do look out for the potential for it to want to come back and close this weekend gap from Friday to Monday. A lot of times these weekend gaps tend to get closed more often than any other kind of gap. So think about just keep that in mind. But if we can go sideways, build a base, then up instead. So I'm definitely watching to see if today is a sideways or chooses violence and goes down today. And so with that said, that's the same kind of thing I'm looking at with Tesla. If Tesla, it chose violence to go up, which I love. I'm really excited that it started to make this V-shaped recovery, like over the longer term. This is a daily chart of Tesla, and it looks like it's working on a V-shaped recovery. I just hate that it made that little weekend gap there. So I drew this last night. If it chose violence, let's say it goes all the way up to 297.31, which is this 50% retrace. This is 50% of the way from that $215 low all the way back up to that $488 high that we struck. So halfway back is 297.37. So I don't know if it like wicked up this morning and then stopped there and then chose to run back. 61.8% of the move from that 50% level back towards the 217.02 that we hit down here. Well, that would close this gap, the pre-market or the weekend gap, back to about 247.69. And it could just wick down there. And now I'm just doing conjecture after conjecture, but closing the week over 250 would still be very constructive, and we could still get it going. Anyway, I can't tell you what's going to happen today, but we're just going to look. We'll see if it goes sideways or uh, chooses violence one way or the other, up or down. So
Yeah.
that's kind of it.
What I have for my Tesla
Kind of it.
is.
Just go ahead.
Are you finished? You can finish.
It's my longer term goes up to like yeah. I'm finished. The longer term Tesla chart it still goes up to like 700, 800. Just not sure when we'll get there, but and then 1,000 after that, and blah blah blah. Tesla's going to do great. Um,
Yeah, in the long
that's all.
run. In the long run, it'll be fine.
In the
Um,
long run. Yeah.
yeah. So that 200-day, 285.25, and it's looking like it might even open below it. We'll see. There's still like an hour left or so before the market opens, so we'll see if it does really want to open or stay above it or not. But if it does want to retest levels, where would that be? That could be back down to this log scale, 702, right? The 272.79. It could come back down there and maybe retest that zone, and that's basically all also where the 50-week moving average is. So if we're looking for a back test, I think has the potential to go down there, and maybe try to stabilize on top of that. And if that holds, then perhaps it can go back up and break above. But really just watching this 285 zone to see how price reacts throughout the day, actually throughout the week, because if it can maintain it throughout the week, then I think we'll see it continue higher. But so far, it's just kind of a resistance zone like we talked about last night. Everything is at a resistance zone really right now. So we just got to be a little bit cautious here just to allow things to stabilize, maybe retest levels before going higher. And with that, we'll do NVIDIA. We did it last night too. So NVIDIA, A couple of things is it's getting stuck under my green level of my GAN there day after day. It actually hasn't closed the daily candle back above it since it broke down below back in early March, late February. Right, it has not, it opened a candle above it, but it has not closed the daily candle above it. So that's going to be my main focus for Nvidia, getting back above that 121, 122 level, and also holding this conversion line here at 118.34. So it's almost back down there pre-market, but I would like to see it stabilize there for to break through it, because we all know, I talked about it last night, the monthly conversion line is 121.91. I would love to see it close above there for the potential to continue its journey back to the 150s. So that's my focus for Nvidia.
Yeah, I think I just stick with Matt's guidance on Nvidia. All I can say is what would happen if it held the 105.51 low it's the higher low it struck recently, which is good. It would be good. I think it would take it to 220.65 next. But we don't have to show that. Just
Okay.
but yeah.
All right. Well, with that said, then we can jump on to GME. I see that request, and yeah, it's right. If you're looking at the monthly chart, it's basically right around the 50-month moving average pre-market. So, is it probably going to go continue higher? Probably not. Right. It's in a resistance zone. Weekly chart, it's right above that, and it can go to the bottom of the cloud here around 29.63. So it is possible to continue its journey a little bit higher, but I don't know if it's going to close the month above this 50-month moving average, because it is kind of sloping down right now, which is also at 28.26. So just a couple of things. It has more room on the weekly chart to go up, but again, there's still 5 days, 6 days end of the trading month, so it can go up and then still close back below. But I will be watching to see how this monthly candle closes a lot, because if it does flip this zone back to a support, then it can carry on to the momentum back up to the 382 up here, and possibly even towards the weekly chart up here, which is in that same zone, the bottom of the cloud, and that 382, the 3168. So we'll see. All right, it's at a very important area right now, and I would love to see it stabilize on top of that, but still, there's 6 days left in the trading month.
I want to show something for GME that I didn't talk about last night. It's actually one of Matt's tricks here. If you just take a fib retracement on the linear scale, and you go from this $17.57 bottom, and then drag it up to 100%, right up to this $34.40 double top, then what you want to watch is a 78.6% level at 3080, which it approached last night but didn't quite get to. At the point at which you see GME get over the 786 and test back to it for support, then you can start getting excited about it breaking over this 100% level, and then look for it to extend to this 127.2 or this 141.4. My ultimate target next still is that $70 target, just because GME never made a new lower low after than 1757. So yeah, run up to, gosh, was it $80? Yeah, it was like almost $80. It was exactly $80. So that's it. Just do this retracement fib. It's kind of cool, and then just watch to see when price can get over 3080 and turn it into support instead of resistance. And that could be your sign that it's going to break out. I don't know when that'll be, but that's what it would look like. Let's see, what else do we have? I just want to say hi to Candlestick Unicorn. I saw him on here. He's a cool guy that we follow each other. Yeah, he does a Elliott wave theory as well. Let's see. I see a request for GEV. Is that a crypto?
No, that's a stock.
GE Verona?
Yeah.
Oh. I have no idea. Come back to me on this one.
Yeah, I'll do GEV right here. So with GEV, yeah, it opened the week back above the conversion line, which is great because it's the first time it's back above it since it's broke down below. So it's reclaiming that. It's also reclaiming this 236 at 324. So it looks like it has reestablished this as a support zone after going back down to the 266 zone right here. And that held. So now we just see it stuck underneath the baseline 348, above the conversion line 328, and 324 for that 236. So I think what I'm just focused on for GEV is just stabilizing on top of this 324 zone for the potential to continue higher, because if it can do that, then I do see it going higher and higher, perhaps even back towards the previous all-time highs as well. But it's not going to do that until it gets back above this baseline. So I think what we could see is maybe just for a little bit as it tries to possibly get closer to the weekly cloud over here before going higher. But yeah, the chart is looking good. It just basically went straight up for a while. So now it's spending time to go sideways until it really is ready to make its next impulse move higher.
All right, I've got a beat on it now. I did a 5 wave impulsive extension off of from the beginning of time when it opened about $115. Here's my wave one at 447.50, wave two, 266.47, and then just looking at the daily Ichimoku pattern, let's look and see if it doesn't do a 382.236, 123.6. So that'd be like 393. You can just take a screenshot of this right here. 393.49, then back to 344.94. It could go longer than that. But once it does break above 393.49, look for it to cross all the way up to 677.44. Comes back to the 76.4 at 520, and then 223.6 is $1,009. That is nuts. This is like Tesla kind of price action. How far is that? It's like 200% higher than where price is right now. So this would be a great place to enter because even if it does, no matter what it does, it's probably not going to retrace more than the 23.6 once it gets over it. So 344.94 should become your stop loss after it gets over it ways. And there you go, GEV.
All right. And I see a request for the XRP. There's really not much happening with XRP right now, as it's just stuck. It's trying to break above the weekly conversion line right now, but it is stuck. So that's at 249, 105, or 104. It already tried to go above it earlier this week. It went to 250, got rejected. So now we're just seeing price trying to get more bullish. We go to the daily chart. We can see that the daily chart is just stuck in between all that noise right there, in between the baseline, the 50-day moving average, the conversion line. Then you got the 100-day up there at 252. So I think it could be a slower journey to the upside here, but we'll see. All right, we'll see if it can ever break above that 249. And if it can get above that 249, then it has potential to get to the top of the daily cloud, and that's at 258. So once it gets back above there, then I think it has more room to go high. But in the meantime, it's just stuck, right? Stuck, waiting for enough time to get maybe closer to this weekly cloud over here. Who knows how long that's going to take before the next leg higher, but this one is still very, 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 very bullish. It's not really doing anything except for one giant bull flag kind of a thing, and we can see maybe price break out of it sometime in the near future, but right now it's just stuck. And I do see a request for Doge, so I'll just jump on that since it's still crypto related. Sure. So Doge, we can see that this is going right back up to the 50-week moving average, and that's resistance. So it is a little bit above it right now, right? Just barely, because the 50-week is 0.20208. So we'll see if it has this power to break through by Sunday. And if so, then the next resistance will be up here at 24 cents. But great reversal, great doji candle, basically that wicked all the way down to that arc, to the 200 week, to the 100 week, and that held perfectly. So that was really a good key support there. But now, just like everything else in the market, it's at resistance. So just be a little bit cautious here. Don't get a little bit greedy when it's at resistance, because it could get rejected and maybe even retest lower levels again before trying to go higher. All right.
Let's see. I'm going to try to do a Cintas Cintas Corporation, CTAS, for Tom Byer here. Let's see, this is a weekly chart, so this is going to be a long-term outlook, and then I'll try to look in a little closer. But it kind of looks like from the pandemic low here, we'll start that as the wave start, 1, 2, and it looks like it almost did the 200%. This is kind of crazy. Let's see. So from here, this went 382, 236. Then it went almost 1236 back to 100, but it hasn't done 2236 yet. So I think it's still on its way. I think it's in its fifth wave on its way to 259.32. Let me make this a bit bigger. I know the chart looks kind of teeny the way I had it. So yeah, let's see if it didn't have, gosh, kind of a short wave 2 and a short wave 4. I'm hesitant to call this the wave 3, wave 4, but it sure looks like it. It just got so much farther than I would have expected. 188, 123. I don't know. Let's tack a 2618 on here. Watch each of these levels: 2236, 2382, 2618. Any of these could be the ultimate resistance. I'd say somewhere in this zone right between here and here. This is going to end up stopping inside this box. And then on the shorter term, I can do the same thing. I can just get a little closer, and we'll just do a wave setup from, that's 180.78, 180. So this is the bottom. And there's your 1, 2, and let's see, 5 waves up from here. Maybe, let's see if it does the same thing. 382, 236, 123, 764, 2236 would take it to right there. So let me make this a little different color, and you can take a screenshot of this. And so here in black is the shorter term impulsive wave that this is projecting right here from this 1, 2, and then the larger degree wave 5 that we're part of now, I think. And there you go, Cintas Corporation. So look for $200.59 next, though it'll have have to get over 196.30 first. Let's see.
All
And then
right. Very nice.
I did a hood thing here too. Here's my hood chart hasn't changed. The big pullback, or I guess I updated it since the correction here. But I'm looking for maybe like a 618236. Back here, we already had 5 waves up, and it did a 764 50%, 1618, almost 100%, and then it went to almost 300%. It was nuts in that melt up. So I'm just going to look for 618236. So it's right at the 236 now. So this will be resistance at first, but once it can get over 4764, let's see if it can't get all the way up to 7060 next. And if not, each of these fibs is like resistance on the way up. I should probably put a 50% level in there as well. So just watch each of these fibs on the way up to 7060, and then I can tell you better how the rest of it will go. But let's look for that for now. I can always do a better job of predicting the 3, 4, 5 once the 1, 2 is done, and we're just getting that now. And then
There we go.
I can keep going, or you can go next, Matt, if you want.
Yeah, I actually had a Baidu chart since I've done AMD quite a bit,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to jump on Baidu. And
Sure.
we haven't even really talked about it on the show a lot. But I see a lot of people like the long invest. They're talking about it on their X a lot, how it's going to be amazing in the future. But I think a couple things we can take out of this is, one, it is getting back above the 50-week moving average, so that is a positive, right? But nothing else is really that positive about it, right? It's still not making higher highs from downtrend. It still can't even get inside the cloud, or even above the baseline, or even above the 100, or even on the cloud, for that matter. So we'll go to the monthly chart to get take our keys from it, and this is all we need to know, right? It's been stuck under the monthly conversion line ever since it broke down in September of 2023. So that's like a year and a half of being under a lot of pressure here. And it did have a false breakout here back up to the baseline, but now it's still even stuck under that monthly conversion line. So people can just use that monthly conversion line of the Ichimoku as your guide, right? If it stays under 96.72, then there's no point of being in this stock really at all right now, because it's really stuck under resistance. Now, if it starts to close monthly candles like consecutively in a row, then I'd be like, okay, now possibly a bottoming formation is there. And now it's trying to stabilize, because current price now is kind of where price was exactly back in 2019. So it's basically been flat for over 5-6 years. So a long time, a long time. So we can just take our cues from there. It is trying to form a foundation here, a multi-year foundation, but it's still stuck in a resistance. So with that said, I don't know if it's going to make any explosive moves anytime soon, but if it does ever close a month back above that conversion line, then it can slowly but surely recover back to all of this resistance into the 120s. But it's going to be a long play, right? It's not going to happen overnight. So don't get too excited about that when you see people post about it, in my opinion, because it's probably going to take a while for this to make some good money.
All right, well, I've got Soundhound up next, and I was going to show how I'm going to fix this chart, because before I thought this was going to be our wave two bottom. It had 5 waves up. It melted up nicely into this $24.98, and then it dropped down to 12.41, went up a little bit, but guess what? Then we had the correction, and it went down even farther. So watch as I just simply pull this down to here. So 820 is now our wave 2 bottom. Just drag all these. They'll mostly still kind of match up with only hardly any adjustment needed. So now what I'm looking for is, this is a 618236, because did this one do 618236? I can't tell. You know what? Based on the Ichimoku cloud, let's look for 32236, because I'm just looking at the weekly Ichimoku cloud right here. So maybe 382 to $16.41, back to $13.27. Again, as it comes up here, if this is going to be support later, then this will foreshadow that as being resistance. So it won't get over 13.27 the first time it tries, but then it should 16.41 back to 13.27. Then it still goes to 34.75, back to 76.4, $24.61, and then the 2236 up here at 56.23. So maybe kind of like that. There you go. You can take your screenshot of that if you like. Soundhound. That's what I'm projecting right now.
Very nice. One thing actually I wanted to touch on with Baidu, one last thing before we move on, is yeah, because they're talking about they see option flow as a reference, and they have seen continuous large buy orders. So going back to my Baidu chart here, I wanted to point out the fact, if you just do a fib from the 2006 bottom to the top here, it's holding the 786, guys. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something that's basically holding the floor for a long time, since even maybe 2013, a very long time, I think that could be the floor. So we know our risk, right? The risk is like 79.42 down here. It doesn't seem to want to go below it. So with that said, that is about $15 down from there. So that is kind of I guess, a bigger risk, but not really, right? It's kind of trying to build a foundation, but it's also to break resistance. So it's really range for weeks and weeks and weeks, for months even. You can see this range. This is a monthly chart. For months, it's been in between the 108 and the 79, right? It could not break above. So we have that 96 for the conversion line, but we also have this 108 here. So yeah, I mean, maybe they are preparing for things for the future, but for options, I don't know, right? But the thing is, it's really just stuck, and it has no momentum to the upside just yet, but it is trying to build a multi-year, even over a decade-long base here, which is really boring, but it does have potential to continue to go higher. But I don't know if it's going to be a huge moneymaker because it could just still be stuck in this range for some time, right? So yeah, my opinion on Baidu is it's just a boring stock, and there's better opportunities. So yeah, that's it. All right.
Let's see. I've got Vertiv Holdings here. The questioner is asking if there any hope for the stock. Well, yeah, I'd say so. Um, Vertiv Holdings, I've been looking at, and it never, even with the correction, it never made a new lower low. So that still holds. I did kind of adjust, kind of playing around with the fibs here. Earlier, I had this at a lower low in the previous part, but I'm going to bring it to the 776. It's still kind of crazy. So after the 6238 wave 2 bottom, it ran almost 100% up. Um, and then chose violence and went down below the 23.6 fib. I guess this might be 11.4%. This is wild. So when it kind of gets this is kind of what Tesla's doing right now. Such a violent move to the upside and then back down again. I anticipate that you're really just pulling the rubber band really hard, and it's going to snap back even higher. So instead of like the 123 or 138.2, let's look for the 150% trickster fib right here. So 214.56. Watch every fib on the way up here. But that's kind of what I anticipate it might be doing. Then I'm not even sure if it'll come back to the 100% because that might be too close to where it ended. So somewhere between 123 and 100%. I'm not even going to leave a number for that. It'd just be somewhere around there. And this could go 250 to 261, 261.8. Sorry, I'm not saying these numbers right. Somewhere between the 238.2% to 261.8%. So maybe in this zone up here. For where it ends up. So yeah, it's this one's kind of hard to guide because it didn't do really nice fibs on the way through here, but yeah, let's look for this. If I ask me again, like in a few weeks, and if it's got like another 1-2 down here, I can try to project between the wave 2 and the wave 3 top. There you go. That's what I'm anticipating for Vertiv based on its history.
Nice. And I see one for
Oh wow.
I see one for RCAT as well, so I'll jump on
Yeah.
that. And actually, I only want to use the monthly chart for RCAT because it's an interesting development that it is actually trying to backtest a very important zone, the top of the monthly cloud. It finally broke out of it. It finally backtested it, and is trying to hold this monthly fib here, this 621. So a couple of things here that look like it could be a good support for RCAT finally. And if that does stabilize, which is also a previous resistance zone right up here, flipping to support, then it does have potential to continue its journey on to the 30s, really. Like all this up here, it could even gravitate to the 20s or 30s up here. So could be interesting if this does hold that 621 zone. So I'll be watching that for the monthly candle close. But something that had a huge bearish cycle now actually has potential to be a little bit more bullish. So it is making higher highs and higher lows finally. So we'll see. We'll see with RCAT.
Yeah, RCAT's got potential to retrace quite high coming off the bottom here. Maybe I should. I think I had RCAT, and I'm gonna have to buy it again. It looks interesting. It looks really good from here.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, you've got me on the screen. So here's Eric. So you just look at the history back here on the weekly chart. I mean, obviously they had a lot of reverse. Like they must have had some reverse splits or something. I don't not really know. But down here at the bottom, where it's finally kind of scraping up the bottom here, I thought this was the 1-2, but look, now it got bigger. It got a little higher high, and then this lower low. So now this is the 1-2, which is even better because it just pushes this even higher. So let's just say if the most bullish version of this goes 764, 382, 1382, 100, 2382, and that takes it up to like, what kind of gain is that? The most bullish scenario from where price is right now is like 530% higher. So yeah, gonna have to make sure I've got some RCAT because I like the way this looks. It's a good risk reward. You know, don't bet the farm on it, but you know, you put some money in it, and it's probably going to pay off. Okay, that's it. That's all I want to say about Red Cat. We can look at it again in a few weeks and see if it gets some a smaller degree 1-2 in there I can project off of.
Yeah. All right, we just have time for a few more. I'll choose one more. I'll do Rivian just because I haven't touched on it in a while before I have to go. And Rivian, it's in a lifetime downtrend, really. But one thing that you can see finally that it's doing is actually making a series of higher lows, right? We haven't really seen multiple higher lows in a while. And it's kind of doing that here, higher low, and a recent higher low here. So we have potential for the monthly chart to actually try to break resistance at this time, but not sure if it will. So that conversion line right there is really around 1420s. Let's see if it can break above it, but that is going to be a resistance. It's in a lifetime downtrend since the IPO. Basically, so I cannot really be bullish on the stock, but it kind of does have an opportunity to start to build some higher lows here. So if that trend continues, then perhaps it can get back to the 17s and above, maybe even the baseline at the 18s. But I'm not sure if it really has much more than that. But yeah, this kind of monthly chart, when I see this, I don't really get too excited about it because I think it just can get rejected and roll over and continue lower and lower and lower.
Ooh, Jay Gonzalez says that RCAT has been awarded an Army contract partnered with Palantir. That's exciting.
Interesting.
I'm definitely going to buy some RCAT. Um, let's see. We did Palantir last night, so I'm going to do Avago, AVGO, as my last one for today.
All right.
This is a great chart because here's the 1-2 I was looking at. This high of 188.39 down to this low of 128.08. And so we got the 1-2. My wave one didn't quite get to the 764. I was looking for 261.66. It only got to 251.88, then kind of lost it. And instead of holding the 382 for support at 194.87, it went a little lower. You can see back then I was looking for a buy zone around here. It did indeed go through this buy zone. It went under the 382, but now it's working on reclaiming the 382. Once it turns 194.87 back into support, I still think it'll continue and do the 1382, 100%, 2382. So these targets have not changed for this chart. Everything is still the same. Once it recovers back over 194.87, I think it's going to be some nice sailing. Of course, as always, this wave 3 will itself be made of 5 waves going up. So expect up, but you know it's going to be up. Is what I'll be looking for AVGO here. These aren't exact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is just like an approximation. But there you go. I still like Broadcom for future earnings and what we have, or future price appreciation. From where price is right now to the wave 5 top is 189%. To the wave 3 top, it's 97%. All right, and it's 9:07. It's time for Matt to go. Thank you guys all for joining us this morning, and thank you for your thanks. We're happy to do it for you guys.
Yes, we enjoy it very, very much.
We do. You keep
right,
our
until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow then. Yeah, see you tomorrow, Tracker.
Yep, I'll be back tomorrow. See you then.
All right, bye guys.
All right, good luck, everybody.